Have you ever found it difficult to talk about what you do? Someone says to you, hey, what do you do? And you get a lump in your throat and you're like, oh God, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to explain it in a way that makes people engaged and excited and interested in what I do. And the problem, I want to say, is not finding the right words. It's not figuring out your niche. It's not figuring out the ideal client you're talking to. What is the problem is that you haven't found your unique voice yet, and you haven't figured out how to bring that voice to the world so that people are like, oh my God, I love you. That's what we're talking about today. I am Rachel Weaver. If you don't know me, are new around here, and I help trailblazers, the people that don't want to do marketing the normal way, that don't resonate with the normal way, that hate putting themselves into a box and want to show up as their authentic self. I help you craft your messaging so that your ideal clients see you, know you, and buy from you. And today, we're getting into why human design can be that key, that thing that you're looking for that helps you understand why your messaging isn't landing. So, I got my notes. I'm really excited to dive into this today. Okay, so messaging is two parts, right? Messaging is the energy behind your words, right? It's whether or not you're confident in what you're delivering. It's whether or not you believe in yourself, whether you believe that you're an expert in the thing, right? Along with the actual words that you're putting out there, the actual offers that you're putting out there, and how you're delivering it, right? It's two different things. And human design is that energy behind. What I discovered over years of myself, understanding how I want to show up, understanding how my clients want to show up. I started in copywriting and understanding someone's brand voice. And oftentimes they would tell me, this is who I want to talk to, and this is like who I am. But they really didn't understand their own energy and how they wanted to show up. I see this all the time. A business coach gives advice on messaging, and there's a ton of advice out there, right, on messaging, but it's what worked for them, right, and what they were able to do with their business based on that. And it has very little to do with actually understanding the energy behind it. And each person is designed a little differently. What works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for the next person. That's why that advice can feel like boxed in and stifling, right? Talk about pain points. I really identify your ideal client, niche. All of these things are somewhat important. Like, I don't knock them. I don't say that you don't need a niche or you don't need to know who your ideal client is. What I'm saying is that you have to understand how your energy works first and what your authentic expression is. And then we go, okay, who do you want to work with, right? What are you wanting to bring the world? How are you wanting to help these people? And then packaging and positioning you to be your person's solution, right? It's like both and. And most entrepreneurs, you end up diluting your message and watering it down. And honestly, it feels like you end up sitting and spinning in circles because one person will suggest one thing and another person will suggest another thing, and you're scattered because there are lots of different parts and pieces to a message that makes it compelling. But no one's really giving you the full big picture of everything that you need in your messaging. We need to first understand ourselves. How are we here to express? This is where human design comes in, right? And I'll share a couple of the different pieces of human design that I'm always looking at when it comes to messaging. And the first one is really understanding your throat center. Now, even over Mercury, I know Mercury gets a lot of talk in the online space that, look at your Mercury and I do look at Mercury, but it's your throat center. This is the area of expression. It's where everything makes manifest. It's how we share our offers. It's how we share our message, right? So if you're not using your throat the way it was designed, it's going to feel, ugh, right? Like I remember in the beginning, someone was watching the brand story, where you have to craft your own brand story, and that's like the thing that's going to bring everyone to you. And it really rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I get brand story, I got the concept of it, but I was like, this doesn't feel like me at all. And it was because I don't really have that energy much in my chart. It's not the dominant energy of my chart. My dominant energy is the 1648, which is mastery and talent. And when I can talk about that, that's when it becomes easier. Have me tell my brand story and I will stumble over my words. I can get there. It's not my favorite thing, right? And if I were to only do brand story and I'm forcing myself into that box of brand story, then I'm actually, number one, I'm not my authentic self, which I believe is the most important piece of your business and communicating in your message, right? It is the whole reason we're all here. We're all here to be ourselves and share our gifts. So if I'm trying to shove myself into this box of storytelling that doesn't feel natural for me and doesn't feel like the way I want to share what I do, then I'm not going to show up. It's going to be harder to write content. It's going to be harder to sell. Everything is going to be so harder versus being in alignment. And I believe that as like most of people that watch this channel and watch these videos are on the energetic side, like they get alignment, right? And when you're in alignment, when you're using your energy the way it was meant to be used, it's like you're flowing down the river instead of trying to paddle up the river. Everything just works so much better. So looking at your throat and how is that energy moving? Which channels, if you're defined? If you're undefined, it's really understanding that you're the mirror and you're reflecting. Are you listening? The open throat is such an amazing listener and space holder. My husband is an undefined throat and he's taught me so much about how to be a better listener and reflecting back what he's hearing. Like, he does this so beautifully and naturally that he just listens and then goes, I hear you saying XYZ. It's freaking amazing. That's the open throat. That's the way it wants to show up. And when you, again, if you take an open throat and you say, okay, you need to communicate like this, it feels icky. It feels contrived. It feels unnatural, right? That's not authenticity. It's just not. And human design shows you exactly where you're putting yourself into that box. Oh my gosh, my nose itches. Okay. I also look at Mercury. Mercury is that energy behind. So if the throat center is the energy we're communicating with, your Mercury gate is the energy of your mission. It's the energy behind what you're doing, and it's how you're showing up. Does that make sense? So we look at that. It's the mission, it's the piece that you come back to, but it's not front and center. Your throat is front and center. I also love to look at your centers because these are such big energies, whether or not you have all of them defined to one defined or none defined, right? It really explains a lot about how your energy works. The more centers you have defined, the bigger your energy is. And that doesn't mean that you're bold and loud. It could be that, but it also just means that when you walk into a room, you take up space. People notice, right? Where someone with a lot more undefined centers may feel a little bit more chameleon-like. They may walk into a space and take the entire room, or they may walk into a space and feel more like they're going to stay in the back, and the people that are drawn to them find them. They're confident in that they know exactly who they need to speak to, and those people find them. There's more of it's magnetic in a different way, right? So I love looking at the centers and understanding what energies you have defined, what energies you have undefined. And then that way, when we create offers, we understand what are your gifts? What are the things that you're naturally good at? And what are the things that you can really help someone else understand in a better and deeper way. I'm all about depth, not death, depth. I'm all about depth with the 1648. Like, I want deep. I want you to talk about the deep transformations that you get people. I don't want you being fluffy. I don't want you skirting over the incredible impact that you have on your clients. That does need to be front and center, absolutely. When you express it, though, we're creating a message that is so clear, so bespoke to you that people go, oh my God, I've never seen this before. This is what I need, right? That's what we're doing. I have never told anyone like, this is the messaging framework that you need. I may suggest and then listen back of how are they feeling about that suggestion. Most of the time it fits, right? They're like, yes, I like that. That feels good. Sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. Then we find something, okay, what is a framework that feels good for you, right? Okay, so some steps to getting at the authenticity of your message and how you can start to incorporate some of this into your messaging is knowing your design. And like for you, I have a custom report where you put in your birth details and I'll tell you exactly how to use these elements in your messaging, all in a report. It's fantastic. The link is below. It's called Authentic Messaging Unfiltered. It's amazing. Go grab it. But you have to know your design first and foremost, obviously, right? And then really discovering your voice. How do you want to show up? If there were no parameters on what good marketing was or what good messaging was, how would you want to show up? Really expressing yourself. And I believe that everyone could do this more, myself included. The more that you show up and talk about what you want to talk about, the more that you uncover those layers of your authentic self. And as you grow and as you expand and do your own personal growth, right, you'll discover new layers of yourself, new authentic pieces of yourself that you haven't brought to the surface yet. And so every single day you can be asking yourself, what do I want to say today? What is the piece that I really feel someone needs to hear? How do I want to show up? Always, always, always. Like, it's an ever expanding thing. And then I want you to audit your message. Look at your content right now, your offers, your like your Instagram content, anything. Like, really look at it. If you were a fly on the wall, someone that has never seen your stuff before, would you know what you do? Would you know what that person wants to be known for? Would you be like, oh, they're definitely a Reiki master, or they're definitely a business coach for newbies, right? What is that thing that you want to be known for? It should be like blatantly clear in your content and on your sales pages too, like, right? But auditing your message in the next step, and like not only what you want to be known for, but like how does it feel like you? Are you using templates that don't feel like you? Are you trying to niche when you really have no idea what your niche is? Are you talking only to pain points and tired of that and feel like you're only attracting people that are stuck in the pain, right? Does your messaging really feel like you? And the fourth one is really getting clear on your offers and what the heck problem you're solving. We buy solutions to our problems first and foremost. Like, that's what we do. I don't think I've ever bought anything that, well, that might be a gross overstatement, but when it comes to business and even as a mom or a homeschooler, I buy things because it's going to solve a problem for me. Maybe I'm wondering like what curriculum to use. So A curriculum needs to tell me what it does and who it's best for and how it works, right? And whether or not it's going to solve my problem. We have to know what the problem is. And it is not just you're frustrated with life or you're frustrated with whatever. We have to get deeper and really truly understand what exactly they're struggling with that they no longer want to deal with. And then your offer is that solution, and you're positioning the solution as the only solution, the only thing that will help them. And I can hear a few people right now saying, but my solution may not be right for them. Okay, with all my love, because I've been there, with all my love, you're going to talk to the person that is going to get the transformation, right? You're not going to talk to the person that is wishy-washy, that doesn't believe in themselves and doesn't think that they can actually make the transformation. You're talking to the person that does believe it, that does the work, that shows up to the calls, that does the homework, right? That's who you're talking to, because they're the person that is going to get the transformation. Don't talk to the other person, because you're going to attract that person, and then they won't get a transformation, and then you're going to worry that your offer isn't any good. Ask me how I know this. Like, I've been there. Talk to the person that you know you can get a transformation for. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about is a couple of misconceptions around messaging. And it's like misconceptions that we have to talk to pain points. I don't really like to call it pain points. It's problems. Because do you feel the difference in pain points versus problems? Pain points are like, I'm in so much pain. Somebody save me. Or a problem is, I have a problem and I'm looking for a solution. Such a different energetic, right? What problem do they have that you can solve, that you love to solve? And I love to ask it like, someone comes up to you with this problem and you literally cannot help yourself but to fix it for them. Be like, oh my God, I know exactly how you can fix this problem. And you go off on it, right? Those are the problems. We can look at your undefined centers if you want, that as a clue into what some of those problems would be, that you would be a genius at solving. But I first always ask, like, let's go within first. Let's ask your higher self, what is a problem that you are so freaking excited to talk about and so freaking excited to help someone solve? That's where we start with an offer, right? Then looking at how are you solving it? What is your methodology, your system, your way of being in order to get them that transformation? We can't start with a transformation because it's so big, right? Especially when we're talking about one-to-one. And one-to-one, it can be so bespoke, I can't speak, so unique and personalized that the transformation becomes so big and ambiguous that no one understands what it is anymore. Don't start with the transformation. Start with the problem that you love to solve. Then, how are you going to get someone the solution? That is your bridge, your methodology, your system, your vision that gets them to the transformation. Okay? Then, the last misconception is that you have to niche down. Number one, not everyone wants to niche. Hello, manifestors. Hello, many gens. Not everyone wants to niche. And that's okay. Sometimes the niche is yourself. Sometimes the niche is an offer. Sometimes the niche is a more specific problem that you're solving. Like, there's so many different ways to niche. To get stuck in niching it just tears my heart apart, because you have so much to give, so much brilliance to bring to the world, that to get stuck on niche feels so tragic to me. Like, don't. If you are struggling to figure out what your niche is, drop it. Like, don't even think about it, and instead go, what problem do I love to solve right now? And go create an offer with that. Don't worry about your niche. Your niche finds you, guys. Your niche will uncover itself. Yeah, sometimes you can get lucky and go, I know exactly what I want to do and exactly who it's for. But more often than not, in the spiritual community, we don't know. We really don't. until we're in it and working with people and doing the things. And to focus on niching, you're just hamstringing yourself. You're just holding yourself back from what you could be out there doing and helping people with because of a stupid idea that you're supposed to have a niche. Like, drop it. Just go on to something else. So that's, in a nutshell, using your human design to create that magnetic message, the pieces to look at, the things to think about, the blocks that might be holding you back from your most magnetic message. And remember that custom report that I told you about is going to tell you exactly how to use these aspects in your messaging. It's a brilliant tool. Go get it. And I hope that this was helpful to you. I'd love to know what your human design is. So leave a comment below and share what your most, what you feel like your most authentic self is. If you know, if you feel like you're showing up as that, or if you can use improvement, I'd love to hear. And other than that, have a great week, my friends.